there guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's John Campea and this is my quick review of the brand new Avengers Infinity War. Now the plot for Avengers Infinity War is fairly straightforward and we see it in the trailers. You got the Mad Titan himself, Thanos, who's on a quest to assemble all of the Infinity Stones so he can bring balance to the universe. Unfortunately, in his opinion, the only way to bring about balance to the universe is by wiping out half the life in the universe. Now clearly the concept of having half the life in the universe wiped out does not sit well with the Avengers or the Guardians of the Galaxy or any of our other MCU heroes, and they have to band together to try to stop Thanos before he can succeed in his nefarious plot. Let me start off by talking about all the things that I really enjoyed about Avengers Infinity War, and you have to start with what is clearly the best thing about this movie, and that's Thanos. Thanos is the most important character in this movie. This really is his movie. Now, we heard the Russo brothers, the directors of the film, say before that, you know, Thanos gets more screen time than anybody. And I didn't know whether or not to believe them. Sometimes we hear directors say crazy things, but really it is. This is Thanos' film. He has more screen time than anybody. And I'm going to say this too, he's the best character in this movie. Beyond that, Thanos is, without question to me, the absolute best villain the MCU has ever had. As a matter of fact, you could probably have a discussion and an argument that he may be the best comic book movie villain of all time, yes, including Heath Ledger's Joker. And there are a couple things that make him that to me. First of all, I always kind of say that the best villains are the ones who kind of see themselves as the good guy, that what they're doing is right. Thanos is that, but it goes way beyond that. He doesn't just believe he's justified in doing what he's doing. He truly believes he is doing what is best for everybody and what is noble and what is right. And when you get that type of conviction into a villainous character, that they truly see themselves as the hero and that at the end of the day, everybody's going to thank him for what he's doing and they're that delusional, it makes the villain all the more terrifying. Because it's not just greed that's compelling them. It's not just a thirst for power. Those things can be broken. But when you get in these villains a conviction that what they're doing is right, it becomes terrifying and it means they're not going to stop. But even beyond that, we've seen other really good villains believe that they were the good guys, but without much emotional depth, like not a lot much more to them. Thanos is different. Thanos has emotional depth to him, and as you go through the movie, we get deeper and deeper into his character. It's not just that he's being driven to do what he thinks is right for the universe, but he has emotional connections as well. He has an intellect. He has depths of emotion. He has different ways of looking at the universe that all come together and coalesce into this one really intriguing and compelling character. Villain or not, Thanos is one of the best characters we've ever had in a comic book movie. I mean, just flat out. And I'll tell you this too, you know, we all kind of guessed because of that one trailer showing us Thanos when he gets Gamora as a little girl and takes Gamora as his daughter. We all kind of speculate, I wonder if that relationship between Thanos and Gamora is going to play a key part in this movie. I won't say how, but it does, and it's great. Another thing that really works for this movie that a lot of people were looking forward to is the various character combinations that we've never seen on screen before and never thought we would see. I mean, who would have ever thought a couple years ago we'd see these great scenes with Rocket Raccoon and Thor? Who would have thought we'd see these great scenes with Spider-Man and Doctor Strange? And yet this movie takes advantage of the fact that they're bringing all of these characters together and puts together some really unique combinations. And even in the combinations we've seen before, the movie is filled with those standard come to be expected great interactions. Fun, lighthearted, deep, and serious, but the dialogue between the characters, both new combinations and old, is always compelling throughout the film, and it really works. There's actually this one really good running gag between Thor and Rocket, but I'll let you see it for yourself. Another aspect that really worked for me was something that a few people were nervous about is how well do the children of Thanos, the Black Order, those henchmen we see in the trailers, how well do they play out? Fantastic. They play great, not just as characters, but also in their combat. And granted, they don't go really in depth into a lot of these characters, but there's 5,000 characters in this movie, so no character has a lot of time to go in depth on them other than Thanos himself. But they worked. They were fearsome in combat. You felt terrified when they came on screen. So everything you want a good villainous kind of henchman character to do, they do. Another thing this film does great is surprises. Look, with as many comic book movies as we've all seen now, it's really hard for a comic book movie to surprise us. I mean, a lot of them entertain us very much, but it's difficult today for a comic book movie to truly surprise the audience. And this movie is filled with surprises. Like, I'm looking back in all the predictions I had, both, first of all, the things I really did think were going to happen in this film, a number of them do, a number of them don't. A lot of the things that I thought would never happen, a lot of them don't happen in the movie, but some of them do. And bottom line is, the movie is filled with surprises, and you're going to have a number of occasions watching this movie where your mouth is just going to drop open and go, oh! Like, I can't believe they just did that. Also, on the positive side, this is a complete movie. One of the fears I had going into Avengers Infinity War, that it would just play as a setup for whatever was going to be in Avengers 4. And to me, coming in that theater, not the case. It feels like a fully completed, fully fleshed out movie, beginning, middle, and end, first act, second act, third act, and came to a conclusion, and it feels like it's truly own self-contained movie. That does, yes, open the door for a future installment. Absolutely it does. But all at the same time, it is in its own right, its own complete movie, and I was really impressed with the way they did that. The action stuff in the film is also some of the best we've ever seen in a comic book movie. Now, I won't quite put it on the same level as like that big main action set piece that we got in Captain America Civil War, but it is close and certainly ranks amongst the top 5% of the best action stuff we've ever seen in comic book movies. There are a whole bunch of other things I can mention, but I want to keep this review fairly brief, but I will say one more positive thing about this. With all the characters, it was going to be a very tall order to give every single character in this movie at least one moment. But they do it. I feel like almost every character, from Falcon to Winter Soldier to like Nebula to Mantis, like I felt like every character got at least their one moment. That moment when the spotlight was on them, whether it's a long moment or a short moment, a big moment or a small moment, I felt like every character got that moment, and that's not easy to do, and I felt like everybody kind of got their due. And just basically in general, all the characters are great. I loved all the characters. I love them all. Whether you're talking about Captain America or you're talking about Iron Man, or you're talking about Thor has a great character. Thor might be the second biggest character in the movie, depending on how you look at it as well. The Guardians, again, the characters were just great. But that does lead me into my one criticism of the movie. And we're gonna break that one criticism into like two separate parts, and that's this. One of my fears going into this movie was, are there too many characters? Is this many characters gonna cause it to feel a little convoluted, maybe like have too much weight? The weight of that many characters, is it gonna be too much for the movie to bear? And I will say this, there were moments in the film like I just felt like there was too much going on. And not just in the sense of too much going on in this one scene, but too much going on as in there's 8 different scenes playing out at the same time. Now let's go over to this location and check in with these guys. Now let's go to this location, check in with these guys. Now let's go to this location, check in with these guys. Now let's go to this location, check in with these guys. Like there was just so much going on that it just moved around so much, and sometimes you just felt it, right? It just felt it's too busy. There's too much going on. All the stuff that was going on was great stuff. It was just a lot of it. And connected to that was the fact that, yeah, through the movie, I did feel the weight of so many characters. You could feel it in the film. Now, not so much weight that it breaks the movie underneath it. No, it doesn't. The movie holds up with that much weight, but you can feel it through the film. And again, that's all connected to, there's just so much stuff going on. And while I said that every character does get their moment, and they do, every single character is also kind of a little bit underused. But I mean, we kind of expected that going into the movie because there were 5,000 characters, so we never felt like any of the characters, other than maybe Thanos, was really going to be used to their full potential and really be able to evolve in the film and of themselves. But while every character certainly has their moments to shine, which is great, you also walk out of theater that, wow, they didn't use this character too much, or this character very much, or this character, and then you realize, oh yeah, they didn't use any character very much other than Thanos himself, and you can kind of feel that. Again, I think we expected that going in, and they certainly handle it as well as it can possibly be handled with that many characters. But once again, you do feel the weight of it. A little bit too much going on, and you can feel the weight of that many characters. But at the end of the day, even though there's a little bit too much going on sometimes, and you can feel the weight of the characters, the movie never breaks under that. An incredibly strong villainous character, easily the best the MCU's ever had, maybe the best of any comic book movie ever, and maybe one of the best all-around characters the MCU has ever had, is the main backbone of this film that has great action, great story. Every character is allowed to shine. You see some fantastic fantasy interactions on screen that we never would have thought we've seen before, and all that overshadows the weaknesses that I said. This is a movie with excitement. This is a movie with depth. This is a movie with despair and darkness, yet levity fun and great character interaction all at the same time. Bottom line, it's a thoroughly entertaining movie. I'm not 100% sure that Avengers Infinity War gets into my top 3 MCU movies of all time. It's certainly up there. I'm just not sure it cracks the top 3, but it is an entertaining film. It is a high quality installment into the MCU, and I think a lot of fans are going to be really happy with it. I recommend you run out and see Avengers Infinity War. I think you're going to have a good time. And then make sure you come on back and let me know how good of a time you had, guys. And while you're here, why don't you take a second, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, simply @JohnCampia. That'll do it for me, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me. My name's John Campia. And until my spoiler review on Sunday, bye-bye.